Good evening. So we'll call the meeting to order. And again, for your information, we're live streaming, as we have been for several months in the past. Moved by Councillor O'Donnell, seconded by Councillor Rule. Resolved that the regular meeting commence at the hour of 7:01 p.m. All in favor? Opposed? None? Carried. Item number 2, addition or deletion to the agenda. There's none. Item number 3, disclosure of pecuniary interest. There's one.
Disclosure of pecuniary interest. Member of Council Ed Dunnell. Council meeting date July 11th, 2018. In closed session. I declare a pecuniary interest on agenda item number 1601, closed agenda item number 0501 of the agenda for the above noted meeting for the following reason. I am the applicant with respect to this application.
Thank you. Item number 4, approval of agenda. Moved by Councillor Plummer, seconded by Councillor Dunnell. Resolved that the agenda be approved as circulated. All in favor? Yes, Councillor.
I've been giving it some thought according to one bylaw on there. It's not numbered, but I imagine it'd be 1302, the draft bylaw. It has to deal with labor relations, and I feel that this should be a closed session item. Wondering if the rest of the members would agree with my thoughts on this.
Any comments?
I'm sorry. Item 1301?
On the agenda, it doesn't state 13-02, but it is the second item regarding bylaws. And it has to deal with a municipal law enforcement officer. Now, if there's going to be changes to the terms of the working agreement or anything implemented, I believe this would fall under category subsection 239, sub 2, paragraph D of the Municipal Act for labor relations and employee negotiations.
And I think, Councillor, you're probably referring to item number 1401, which is an agreement by law enforcement services.
It could very well be that. I don't understand why it says up here, but either one of those items, given on the material that we have, because of the nature of it, it should be heard in closed session.
Yes, Councillor?
My only thought would be is that it's already out of the bag. The report's already public.
Pardon me?
The report is already public. The content and the suggestions of what we're going to do is already public. So I don't know how you can backtrack now.
Through the chair, there could be underlying comments that need to be spoken, and those comments should be in closed session.
Any other comments?
I totally disagree with Councillor Dunnell. There's nothing that I see in either item 1301 or 1401 that to me is of a confidential nature at all. And I do not believe it should be a closed session.
Okay, thank you.
Through the chair, then I would like a recorded vote on this, please.
Your worship, I listen to what you're voting on.
Approval of agenda.
Thank you.
Councillor Edward Dunnell.
Against.
Oh, you want me to move it? Sorry. Resolve that the agenda be approved as circulated. Recorded vote, Councillor Edward Dunnell.
Against.
Councillor Sheldon Plummer.
Aye.
Councillor Peter Rule.
For?
Mayor Andy Major.
Thank you. Item number 5, delegation and presentation. There's none. Item number 6, adoption of minutes of previous meeting. Moved by Councillor Dunnell, second by Councillor Rule. Resolved that the minutes of the regular meeting held on June 27, 2018 are adopted as circulated. Questions or comments? All in favor? Opposed? None? Carried. Item number 7, petitions. There's none. Item number 8, disbursement. Moved by Councillor Dunnell, seconded by Councillor Plummer. Resolved that disbursement sheet number 2018-11, $300,089.17, as provided to Council for information purposes only. Questions or comments? All in favor? Opposed? None? Carried. Item number 9, correspondence. There's none. Item number 10, reports and committees. 10:01. Moved by Councillor Rule, seconded by Councillor Dunnell. Resolved that the minutes of the meeting of Manitowoc Municipal Housing Corporation held May 16, 2018 are accepted as received. Questions or comments? All in favor? Opposed? None? Carried. (10:02). Moved by Councillor Plummer, seconded by Councillor Dunnell. Resolved that the minutes of meeting of the Thunderbird District Board of Health held May 16, 2018 be accepted as received. Questions or comments? All in favor? Opposed? None? Carried. Item number 3, moved by Councillor Dunnell, seconded by Councillor Rule. Resolved that the minutes of meeting of the Thunder Bay District Social Service Administration Board held May 17, 2018 regular meeting and May 17, 2018 closed meeting be accepted as received. Questions or comments? All in favor? Opposed? None? Carried. Item number 11, verbal update. I think I put in your box a letter from Lori Swami of the Nuclear Waste Management Organization in answer to Chief Michano's letter that was sent to Nuclear Waste and copied to us earlier. I want to make you aware that that letter does exist, and I'm quite pleased with the way it's written. I'm especially pleased with the last paragraph on the first page, which states that it is important to note that consultation on borehole drilling is focused on the impact this drilling activity only and not on the adaptive phase management project as a whole. So she is trying to separate the two, which is really what it's about. So I think it's a well written letter. And any questions or comments on this? Okay. The other item to this, we had planned a reception for Lori Swami, the president, and Ben Benfidel, the vice president of the corporation. They were supposed to come to Manitowaj at the end of July, and we were supposed to have a reception for them and show them around within our municipalities, even the possibilities of going to some of our high falls and that as a visit, and also a visit to the top of the mountain to oversee Manitowaj and that. Unfortunately, that's been postponed temporarily. They are hoping to keep working in the meantime on the social acceptance of the project, so that they're telling us that it is definitely not canceled permanently. It is a short temporary cancellation. So for your information. And that's all I have for tonight. Is there any questions or comments on this? Okay. Move on to item number 12, updated by CEO, not present. Item number 13, bylaws. Moved by Councillor Plummer, seconded by Councillor Donald, be in a bylaw to regulate the usage of municipal metal bins, also known as bear dumpsters, be read the first and second time. Would you comment on that, please, Owen?
Yes, as council is well aware, we have a number of the metal bins throughout the community that we obtained over the last number of years through the Bearwise program to collect kitchen waste and help with bear occurrences in the municipality. I'm sure everyone's observed the number of infractions we're having of people either overfilling the dumpster and leaving the lid open, putting the wrong material in. We found everything from construction and demolition materials to scrap motors out of cars. As well, they get there, some people, when the bin is full, will just deposit the garbage on the ground beside the dumpster. We've looked at the issue, consulted Public Works, and hopefully we've formulated a bylaw with short form wording and ticketable offenses. We've already had the short form wording and set fines looked at by the Attorney General's office and approved. And with council's approval, we can implement and start enforcement and public education about the intent of the bear dumpsters and maintenance around them.
Any questions or comments? Yes, Councillor.
Through the chair, after reviewing the agenda and the information that you provided, Mr. Cranny, I went out to talk to a few of our residents who do use the bear dumpsters, and all of them had one thing, a major concern, and that was the latch, using the latch. For those who are of our elderly population or those with disabilities, find it very difficult to use that latch and put it back in place the way it is. I would like to bring to your attention, if it's possible, to redesign the ergonomics use of that latch, or use a lighter material like aluminum or whatever, and have that on it. Because having to deal with the provincial offences schedule that you have here, you do have that item 4, have a fine, and not being able to put that latch back in place. Now, if these individuals have challenges to use it, it's not very good. I just want to bring it to your attention that if we can eliminate that item 4 from this bylaw for now until a better latching system can be made, then by all means. But right now, I'm a bit skeptical about being in favor of this.
I can understand your comments and the public's input as well. Being a bare dumpster, the lid does have to be latched, and we've had bears up on top of them, jumping and doing all kinds of stuff to get in the dumpster. We do need a fairly beefy mechanism to keep the lid in place. The nature of enforcement starts with public education and such, and there is always discretion on the officer's part anytime a charge is laid. And I would hope if we encounter that situation and a particular individual, I would respect and expect that that would be taken into consideration.
Thank you. Any other comments? Yes, Councillor?
Thank you, Richard. This comes into effect upon being passed. I'm just wondering, is there going to be a little bit of lifetime for education?
Certainly.
Just how much?
We don't have a thing for that. Obviously, we'll start the social media campaign and website information, forecaster information, things like that. Inadvertent actions that put the person in violation of the bylaw, as opposed to somebody coming up and taking down a brick chimney and throwing all in the bear dumpster, are very different actions. So, as I mentioned, enforcement is the best intentions of the officer, and we certainly want to start with public education and things. We've had a lot of feedback from the public. The fear is that we will lose the service of the bear dumpsters. It comes with some risk to our employees if steel and the wrong type of stuff gets dumped in the dumpster while they're trying to dump it. So obviously, though, we will start with public education before we go to enforcement.
Yeah, thank you.
Well,
Any other comments or questions? Yeah.
Through the chair. Are these dumpsters loaned to us, leased to us, or are they our property that we can actually modify them if we need to?
they are our property.
Yeah. Having said that, is it possible on the upper lid to put a block midway so that it would take the weight of that latching mechanism passing through to the other eye? Because perhaps this is what's causing a lot of problems there, is the leverage of the bar and the weight. And I would really, and those people would really like to see some kind of modifications done to that. Seeing that $100 fine is not a very good educational.
No, I appreciate your comments, and I'll certainly get with the Public Works Superintendent and pass your comments before him and see if he has any possible thoughts on that.
Very good.
And I just my own, from what I've seen and what I observed of the bear dumpsters, the only time that I have noticed that the bars that we're talking about are off the dumpster is because they're overfull. And I think it's a matter of our residents doing that in discretion. If it's overfull, please wait another day, bring your garbage home. We have to realize that the bear dumpster is an addition to our garbage collection and is really a benefit to the township. And we certainly wouldn't want to have staff come up to council with the possibility of removing the dumpsters, which has been talked about in the past. So I would hope that with this bylaw, things will get straightened out and we'll see an improvement on this. Any other? Yes, Councillor?
Just want to state appreciation for, I think this is problem solving, so that's good. I appreciate that. And the other thing I was going to say is just calm now. So I'll leave it.
It's all good. Thank you.
Oh, sorry. That was the other bylaw that you made, which was recreation, which is ATV law bylaw in town. You had a few public engagements.
Yes.
Now, did you do that because it's recreation, as opposed to this one is a different bylaw? Like, It's a different approach, right?
Yeah, well, we did a different approach with that because that's more of a user bylaw, the ATV stuff. We wanted to talk about the nature of the use and what was going on, and because we were going to allow it, but with restricted areas, we wanted input on that as well. And it would give us a really good opportunity to go to the high school and talk to the high school students about it as well. So, yeah.
And also to remember, councillors, that this was something that council had asked the staff to do. So they went away and came back with to resume this system that we wanted, because we wanted the taxpayer, our residents, to have an input. And as it was, there was not much. We're hoping that everybody was satisfied with what was presented. So there is really no timetable for not consultation, but to talk to the public and on this one.
I think it's more of a technical thing, and the wording about the violations is pretty clear.
Yeah.
Obviously, if council approves the bylaw as written, we'll start right away with the social media type advertising, having it on the website, to Facebook, and those things.
Thank you. Any other? Yes,
Just
Councillor?
one further comment through the chair. So enforcement is the same as everything else. It's complaint driven, right? Our file officer's office operates through complaints.
We hear from the Public Works Department about bear dumpsters quite a bit, so this will give us a venue to operate on that. There is a couple obvious spots in town we have routine problems. We have purchased a trail cam, and we do plan to do some surveillance and stuff. The mass majority of the residents are really good with the bear dumpsters and are responsible users and want to keep this service in the community. So I think we'll find support with that.
Thank you. And furthermore, be read a third time passed and numbered as bylaw number 2018-16. All in favor? Opposed? None? Carried. Item number 14 under business, item 1401. Moved by Councillor Dunnell, seconded by Councillor Plummer. Resolved that council is in receipt of administration report FBA 2018-10 submitted by Owen Cranny, Fire Chief, regarding service agreement by law enforcement services. Speak on that, please, Holt.
Thank you. This spring, the bylaw officer and myself attended a course in Thunder Bay. As council's aware, there's provincial downloading around the Residential Tenancy Act, which will put some responsibility onto the municipality. Some of our neighboring communities now have this new responsibility as well, and nobody to deal with it for them. They've approached the Township of Manitouwadge and wanted to know if we would have resources that we could extend to them to help with starting with the enforcement of the Rental Tenancy Act and possibly other bylaws. So we've written this agreement as such that it would be for bylaw enforcement on an on-needed basis, as needed basis and by request. The community of Hornpain would receive their complaints, still field their complaints like we do at our municipal office. Should they desire enforcement of that particular bylaw, they would get us and we would provide that service to them.
Question? Comments? Yes, Councillor Rule?
So just for clarification, so I see through your commentary in the report that at the present time, our bylaw officer is 20 hours a week.
Yes.
So that would remain. If he got calls, that would be over and above.
That would be over and above. We did obviously have a discussion with our bylaw officer. This is a service agreement between the two communities. He's open to the concept of that. We certainly had to go there first. And we feel that with the present workload here and the extra time in the week that we could accommodate this.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Councillor Dono?
I have about three of them. My first concern deals with item number 9.1. It's found on page 26 on your iPads. There's some ambiguity with regards to the language at 9.1, being that if both parties believe that neither are in breach of its covenants or undertakings, then how can one party determine that the other party is in breach as to exercise their right to terminate the agreement? It doesn't make sense.
Makes perfectly good sense to me.
Yeah, it's an exit clause if we're not happy, or either party is not happy. The one that feels aggrieved can simply say, I want out of the agreement.
Well, I realize that, but it seems to be that there's a bit of a blame going back and forth, and it just doesn't seem to state which party is not in breach.
I think, Councillor, what it says there is that if one or the other party feels that they no longer want to be in the contract, they can annul the contract. And really, I think the wording is there. It's just the way it's written.
Yeah, the wording was taken. This is actually Hornpain's bylaw, and the wording was taken from the Municipal Law Enforcement Officers Association, who knew this was going to be happening in quite a few communities in Ontario and prepared this document based on the nature of an agreement.
Thank you.
My
Question?
Yes, my second one is with request to item number 10.1, liability and force majeure.
Yes.
There's nothing in the section with respect to liabilities for torts. Should our bylaws officer be found in offense of committing something that in Hornpain, that a lawsuit can be passed down to Manitowoc. There's no indemnity clause.
Not in that section. In other parts of this agreement there is. We've checked into that as well. Just to bear with me for a second, please.
I've read through it a couple of times, sir, and I cannot find it.
There is wording in here. I just can't put my hand on it right now. And I had a concern of, for instance, if they had expectations if we went to court and we were unsuccessful, that we would not be liable for that. So I read through that. I mean, is that the nature of your question?
Yes, sir. That's the nature of my question.
I can't put my hand on the wording, but I did get into that particular matter and look for. I think the first two sentences, or the first sentence says that does not warrant or guarantee that the service provided. So that in itself, we're going to go to court, just like we go to court on our own for our own enforcement. We don't always come out successful, and we can't guarantee that we are going to come out successful.
Through the chair, the issue I have with that is that we have one of our own employees going over there to Hornpain to help pick up some of their workload and do law enforcement the way he would do it here.
Yes, through their bylaws. It won't be our bylaw. It would be their bylaw we would be enforcing.
at any point of time, would it subject our bylaws officer to liabilities?
He would be, as a contract service to Horn Payne, I believe that would be Horn Payne's liability if there was an issue with their bylaw.
Yes, Councillor?
I'd like to make a comment. My understanding would be is that it's a lot of paperwork, there's a lot of jargon, but we have a part-time bylaw officer, and we're basically saying, yes, he can go and work contract for another community.
Yes, through us. We're
Yeah,
just
through
providing
us.
a contract
Yeah.
service to that community. He's representing them and their bylaws.
Right.
Thank you. Yes, Councillor?
My final question has to deal with the hours of work. I believe I read somewhere on the page here that his hours of work are going to increase from 20 hours a week to 40 hours a week?
No, that's not in this agreement anywhere.
That's not in the agreement?
No.
Okay.
We talked that he presently works in the report. It states that he works 20 hours a week for us presently,
Yes.
and that's the only thing that was stated about hours.
Okay. So there's no increase in his labor contract, employment contract with us with regards to the hours work
No,
for
that's
the municipality?
no. Our agreement with him has we can increase the hours. He can work more than 20 hours a week. We guarantee him a minimum of.
Thank you very much.
So just to clarify that, there is really no set hours set for Horn Payne. It's on demand.
Yes.
Thank you. Any other question? Yes, Councillor?
No other question, Your Worship. Just a comment. I think it's an excellent example of communities working in partnership. And I'm glad to see that Madras has looked at in a leadership role on this one. So thank you for everything you've done there.
Thank you.
And I think we may be looking at other things in the future to work in agreement with other municipalities. And also there's a possibility there that they may do the same for us when we need them. So definitely is a nice start, yes. Any other questions or comments? Okay. And be it further resolved that upon conclusion of Council's review and consideration, direct staff as follows. There is one, Council to approve entering into a service agreement with the Township of Horn Payne for bylaw enforcement services. All in favor? Opposed? None carried. Thank you. Item number 15, motion and notice of motion. There's none. Item number 16, closed session. Moved by Councillor Dunnell, seconded by Councillor Rule. Whereas Section 239 in bracket 4 Municipal Act 2001 SO 2001 C25 provides that before holding of a meeting or part of a meeting that is to be closed to the public, municipality or local board or committee of either of them shall state by resolution the fact of holding of the closed meeting and the general nature of the matter to be considered at the closed meeting. Now therefore be it resolved that this meeting is hereby closed to the public as the subject matter being discussed falls under the following section. Section 239 in bracket 2, bracket E, litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board. Municipal conflict of interest investigation. All in favor? Opposed? None carried. Thank you. Yep. Okay. Thank you.
Owen is doing the closed meeting.
Okay. That's right, yes. Okay, yes. Pardon me?
No, you can
just
leave them
leave them
there,
there,
that's
yeah.
fine, thank you.
No, no. Thank you. Moved by Councilor Plummer, seconded by Councilor Dunham. Resolved that the meeting is hereby declared to be open to the public at 7:46 p.m. All in favor? Opposed? None? Carried. Second last item, there is no business arising from the closed meeting. Thank you. Moved by Councilor Plummer, seconded by Councilor Rule. Resolved that the regular meeting adjourned at the hour of 7:47 p.m. All in favor? Opposed? None? Carried. Thank you. Pardon?